If you ever find yourself driving through the back roads of rural America and your GPS suddenly loses signal, don't keep going, because some places aren't lost. They're hiding about 30 miles outside a forgotten town in northern Vermont. There's a house no one talks about, not because they don't know it exists, but because they do. It stands alone at the end of a cracked dirt road, surrounded by dead trees that never grow leaves, no matter the season. The locals don't go near it, not during the day, and definitely not at night. They call it the rain house because it only wakes up when it rains. 3 years ago, a young couple, Ethan and Lila, bought that property. They weren't stupid. They just didn't believe in ghost stories. They wanted quiet, a fresh start, a place far away from the noise of the city and the mistakes they were trying to forget. The house was cheap, too cheap. That should have been the first warning. The day they arrived, the sky was clear, the air was still, and the house felt empty. Not abandoned, not broken, just waiting. Inside, everything was covered in dust, but nothing looked destroyed. Old furniture sat where it had been left. A child's wooden horse rested in the corner of what used to be a nursery. And the smell, wet wood, mold, and something faintly metallic, like rust or dried blood. That night, the rain came, soft at first, just a light tapping against the windows. Lila thought it sounded peaceful, until she realized the sound wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from inside the walls. Ethan checked the pipes, the attic, the basement. Nothing. But as the rain got heavier, so did the sound. It turned into something else. Not tapping, not dripping, whispering. At 2:17 a.m., Lila woke up to the sound of a woman crying. Not loudly, not screaming, just quiet sobbing, right next to her ear. She shook Ethan awake. "Do you hear that?" He listened. For a moment, nothing. Then, a voice, soft, broken, calling a name. Over and over and over again. Daniel. They searched the entire house. No one was there. But the nursery door was open. They both remembered closing it. The next morning, they tried to leave. The car wouldn't start. Phones had no signal. And the road they came from looked different. Longer. Like it didn't want them to find their way back. That evening, the rain returned. Harder this time. Violent. The house began to creak, then shake. And that's when they saw it. The walls were wet. Not with water, but something darker, thicker. Lila touched it, and instantly pulled her hand back. Blood. The crying came back, louder now, angrier, no longer asking, demanding. "Where is he?" The mirrors changed next. Reflections stopped matching. Ethan would move, but his reflection stayed still. Smiling. Lila saw something else. A woman standing behind her, soaked, hair covering her face, holding something small, wrapped in cloth. When she turned around, nothing. But the reflection was still there. That night, they didn't sleep, because every time they closed their eyes, they saw the same thing. A storm, a child crying, a mother screaming, and a bathtub filled with red water. By the third day, they understood. This wasn't a haunting. This was a memory. The house wasn't possessed. It was replaying something. Over and over and over again. They found old documents hidden beneath the floorboards. A report, 30 years old. A woman had lived there alone with her son. During a storm, the child disappeared. She claimed the house took him. No one believed her, until they found the bathroom, blood everywhere, but no body. The woman vanished that same night, and ever since then, whenever it rains, the house remembers. On their final night, the storm was unlike anything before. Thunder shook the ground, lightning lit up the sky, and for a split second, Ethan saw every window filled with faces, screaming, begging. The voice was no longer crying. It was furious. "You left him!" Lila collapsed, clutching her head. I didn't. But the house didn't care. It didn't want truth. It wanted someone to blame. The last sound anyone heard from that property was a single, piercing scream that echoed through the forest. And then, silence. When the storm passed, the house was still standing. But Ethan and Lila were gone. No bodies. No footprints. No evidence they were ever there, except for one thing. If you stand near that road on a rainy night and listen closely, you'll hear it. A woman's voice, soft, broken, calling a name. And sometimes, if you're very unlucky, she'll call yours. So if it starts raining tonight and you hear something inside your walls, don't listen. Because once the house remembers you, it never forgets. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to my channel and like, share, and comment. Thanks for watching.